I'm standing alone in a crowded room and we're not speaking. And I'm dying to know, is it killing you like it's killing me? Yeah. I don't know what to say since a twist of fate when it all broke down. And the story of us looks a lot like a tragedy now. Just wild. I think, whatever I think of as time goes on, I've been keeping you apprised of my funk issue. Basically, my liver, I had a liver blockage, and then, like, the liver blockage made my immune system shut down, and my immune system shut down made me develop, like, a huge body-wide infection of, like, a variety of things. I'm like, it's, like, amazing. It's unbelievable. I went to Whole Foods Co-op to, like, buy some more, whatever, antifungal stuff. And as I was walking through there, I felt like a slip or a pop, like basically something slipping out of my liver. And then, like, oh, whatever, just like this huge, like, relief, and my pants fell down. I'm not kidding, I'm not exaggerating. Like, something popped on my liver, and so much fluid, like, escaped out of my lymph system that my pants, they weren't really tight, but, like, I had to grab my pants and then tighten my belt in a matter of, like, minutes. Can you imagine? It's been unbelievable. And I was talking before about how I'm like permanently high now. Now I'm like super permanently high. I feel absolutely wonderful. Like the world is like more colorful and like I have like way more concentration and whatever. So I'm beating on myself to try to bring this to a conclusion, and my massager overheated, so now I'm gonna do some more reading just to burn time to get until my massager cools down. There's a minute and a half of how this is all, and everybody should be interested because this is all about how Lucius V's full of shit. I know you're all thinking, people said it, you're full of shit. Intellectual honesty, I was full of shit. I'm an intellectually honest person. You gotta give me that. I am 100. I strive to be 100% intellectually honest. People accuse me of being full of shit. I was full of shit. In answer to a question from some, and I'm still full of less shit than the Watchtower. They don't have an excuse. The Watchtower doesn't have a liver, so they don't have an excuse to be full of shit. In answer to a question from some Watchtower reader, C.T. Russell wrote in 1906, "No, the truths I present as God's mouthpiece were not revealed in visions or dreams. The truths I present as God's mouthpiece were not revealed in visions or dreams, nor by God's audible voice, nor all at once, but gradually. So the truths that I'm providing as God's mouthpiece," he says, "they were not provided all at once, but they were provided to him gradually, especially since 1870, and particularly since 1880. Neither is this clear unfolding of truth due to any human ingenuity or acuteness of perception, but to the simple fact that God's due time has come, and if I did not speak, and no other agent could be found, the very stones would cry out." I guess I already read this, but that's worth rereading again. So, whatever. It's not human ingenuity. It's God speaking through him. He is being God's mouthpiece directly, he says. Believing himself to be God's mouthpiece and his agent for revelation of truth, it is understandable why he would see no need for a governing body. The year after this statement, Russell prepared the last will and testament, which is published in the December 1st, 1916 Watchtower magazine following his death in that year. Since nothing illustrates more clearly the total control Charles Russell exercised over the Watchtower magazine, the full text of this will be presented in the appendix. We may here note what is said in the second paragraph of his published will. So, like, yeah, there's like an appendix of the, there's lots and lots and lots of actual scans of documentation, that type of thing, in both these books. So that's one reason to go buy the book. Even if you're listening to me read it, you'd be interested to see all kinds of like actual scans of actual letters and documents, that type of thing. And even the the little, when they quote something, they put it. I assume that these are like the actual typefaces of the original document to kind of make it clear that that came from someplace else, came from a different document. This is from his will. However, in the view of the fact that in donating the journal, the Giant's Watchtower, the Old Theology Quarterly, and the copyrights of the Millennial Dawn Scriptures scripture studies books, and various other booklets, hymn books, etc. to the Watchtower Bible and Craft Society. He said Bible and Tract Society. You should be able to gather, right? So Russell did not put in his will that he's willing it all to the Watchtower Bible and Craft Society. Intellectual honesty, I twisted that a bit. Doesn't actually say Watchtower Babble and Craft Society in his will when he willed all his crap to the Watchtower Babble and Craft Society. I did so with the explicit understanding that I should have full control of all the interests of these publications during my lifetime, and that after my decease they should be conducted according to my wishes. I now herewith set forth the said wishes, my will respecting the same as follows. Holy crap! The Watchtower has forsaken its inheritance. After my decease, they should be conducted according to my wishes. Charles Russell did not wish that you should reject his teaching about the Great Pyramid of Giza predicting 1914. Watchtower. So the Watchtower, this is like legal. This is it. This is it. The Watchtower doesn't have a legal right to exist. The Watchtower doesn't have a legal right to exist. He specifically said, I do so with the explicit understanding that I should have full control of all the interests of the publications during my lifetime, and that after my decease, they should be conducted according to my wishes. There it is, folks. The Watchtower has no right to exist anymore because it's forsaken. It is disowned most of Russell's crap, and they've called his crap, and they've stopped teaching that the Great Pyramid of Giza predicted 1914. They've even called that wrong. So does that mean the Watchtower doesn't have legal right? They got it in his will. They got the copyrights and the right to all this crap in his will, and now they're not obeying the terms of his will, of their inheritance. Holy crap, we might have just proved the Watchtower has no right to exist from a legal perspective because they are not conducted according to my wishes. They're not conducting it according to Charles Russell's wishes. Although he donated the Watchtower magazine to the corporation and its incorporation in 1884, he clearly considered it his magazine to be published according to his will even after his death. So the moment the Watchtower ever published anything about Charles distancing themselves from Charles Russell, they just gave away their right to exist here. He directed that upon his death, the editorial committee of 5 men personally selected by name by him should have the entire editorial charge of the Watchtower magazine. He also willed all his corporation voting shares to 5 women named by him as trustees, and provided that if any member of the editorial committee should be impeached, these women would serve along with the other corporation trustees, evidently the directors, and the remaining editorial committee members in acting as the board of judgment to decide the case of the editorial committee member accused. Oh, and he has women side by side with men. That's not biblical, is it? Did they wear dresses to the committee meetings? They better have, because women are the weaker sex, and they're not supposed to have a teaching role. They're not supposed to be in control of anything. Did they cover their heads when they voted in the committee? Since one person cannot form a collective body, the facts show that during C.T. Russell's lifetime and until 1916, there was not even a semblance of a governing body. That continued. So the notion that that Jehovah or Jesus came back when he was smoking crack, came back when C.T. Russell miscalculated his return, and then bestowed his authority to some kind of governing body as we have today, that didn't exist then. One guy. That continued to be the case during the presidency of his successor, Joseph F. Rutherford. One might assume that the members of the editorial committee, along with the board of directors, would compose such a governing body, but the facts show that assumption would be wrong. At the annual corporation meeting in January 1917, Rutherford was elected to replace Russell as the president of the Watchtower Corporation. Early in his presidency, 4 of the 7 directors, a majority, took issue with what they viewed as arbitrary action on the part of the president. He was not recognizing the board of directors and working with it as a body, but acting unilaterally, taking actions and informing them later of what he had decided to do. They did not feel this is what was at all in harmony with what Pastor Russell and the faithful and wise servant had outlined as the course to follow in his will when he gave this crap to these people. Their expressing objection led to their swift elimination. Rutherford's good at that. So Rutherford came in and eliminated the people that Russell put in charge. So, like, from that point on, you can understand that Judge Rutherford is the guy running the show. He invented your religion for you. Judge Rutherford. He's the guy that built... It's really funny. There's a Jehovah's Witness that has a video about how to identify apostates. They make a big deal about Beth Sarim. They want to harp on about Beth Sarim. Judge Rutherford took over when the other people involved that Russell left in charge disagreed with Rutherford unilaterally doing stuff. He eliminated them. He got rid of them. So, like, between Russell and Rutherford came in and threw away absolutely everything that preceded him in terms of people, or the people in charge. So that's like not even really, you can't even think of your organization as being connected that much to Russell anymore, because Rutherford came in and took dictatorial control, got rid of people who thought that they should have a say in what he does. Beth Sarim is a house that Rutherford built for himself with the Watchtower's money. That he said he was building this house for something, Jacob, Moses, whatever, the three prophets. We'll get to that. That's why he's building this mansion in San Diego called Beth Sarim. He's obviously lying about that. He built himself a house with the Watchtower's money after he threw out all of the other people involved and took complete dictatorial control. Rutherford found that, though there were personal appointees of C.T. Russell's as directors for life, the directorship of these four had never been confirmed in an annual corporation meeting. According to A.H. Macmillan, then a prominent member of the headquarters staff, Rutherford conferred with an outside lawyer who agreed that this allowed for dismissing the men on a legal basis, that is. So because they didn't do something procedurally the way they needed to, he had the legal basis to toss them. Rutherford thus had an option. He could acknowledge the objections of the majority of the board and seek to make amends if he had views these men as the majority of the governing body of the kind described in 1971 Watchtower would have been morally bound to do so. So Judge Rutherford, if there's a governing body, Judge Rutherford threw it out once. Unilaterally. Or he could avail himself of the legal point mentioned and use his presidential authority to dismiss the directors who disagreed with him. He went ahead and did that. He chose the latter course, appointing the directors of his own choice to replace them. So you understand, after that point, Judge Rutherford is making your religion for you. If you thought that Russell was appointed by Jesus in 1914 when he miscalculated when he returned, nope, no connection to that anymore. Rutherford came in, tossed all his people out, put his own people in. So the Jesus was smoking crack and picked us doesn't really work very well. Let's see here. What year was this? Was this 1917. So isn't this ironic, or isn't this interesting? That would be why Jesus, even though he returned invisibly in 1914, he didn't pick their crazy asses until 1918 or 1919, because if you picked their asses before 1918 or 1919, that would have been before 1917 when Rutherford took over and changed everything. So that's why. I was kind of wondering, like, why would they claim that Jesus picked them at a date after, like, 5 years after he returned? They give a date. The reason is Rutherford made that decision, and he wanted Jesus to pick the organization after he had completely changed the organization to be like the way he wants it. There you go! It wouldn't quite make sense for Rutherford to claim that Jesus picked the organization back at a time when, before he took dictatorial control and changed everything. That's the explanation for the 5-year distance between Jesus returning. It wasn't just that he was smoking crack ever since he returned. It was that he wanted to wait. Jesus wanted to wait until Rutherford could make a claim that his organization, the way he put it together, is the one that had Jesus' blessing. One of the editorial committee, the Watchtower, June 15th, 1938, page 185, shows that in 1925, the majority of this committee strenuously opposed the publication of an article titled The Birth of a Nation, meaning the kingdom had begun to function in 1914. The Watchtower states the result of those who disagreed with the president. Alright, we're on page 62.